Hello Stampers, welcome to Stampin' Crafty with Carolyn. My name's Carolyn Lipitsky. I'm an independent demonstrator for Stampin' Up. I am so happy that you've joined me today. Always happy to have company and people watching me. I hope you'll enjoy my video. If you do, in the corner there, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe, because YouTube has to have a certain amount of subscribers in order for us to continue to make videos for you. And if you subscribe, there should be a little bell that comes up. Press that bell, and every time one of my videos is aired, you'll be able to watch it, and I hope you will. Now today we're going to be making a card that's just a little different. It's called the Arrow card, and I'm going to show you some things that I fooled around with. This is from the Art Gallery Designer Series paper, and we have one from Hydrangeo Haven, and unfortunately the Hydrangeo Haven paper is going to be retired in the new catalog, which is coming up very fast. And this is a new designer series paper. It's called Beauty of the Earth. It's a beautiful series of papers. Of course, all our designer papers are 12 by 12 inches, and they have a print, a design on each side. Okay, this is also a new designer series paper. It's from the Simply Elegant Designer Series paper line, and isn't that just gorgeous? Open it up. I just thought that was so pretty. And then I have another variation of this card. If you notice, all of the cards I showed you have these little wings on the side to make it look more like an arrow. Well, you don't have to do it that way. If you prefer, you could just do it this way. Just cut the sides right off, and it's pretty much like the arrow card. I think the other card is prettier the way it is, but this is kind of pretty too. All depends on what you want to do and your taste. Now we are going to be making the card with this front, and this is also from Simply Elegant Design paper. Isn't that gorgeous? It's silver with copper and black. And we're going to be very dramatic today because we're going to put it on a black background. Very dramatic. All right. So now that we have all that done, now any of the dimensions that I will be talking to you about will also be on my video and in the show more box below where the video is. Excuse me. So we have a base, we're using basic black, and it's cut at 8.5 by 5.5. We have the designer series paper, and this is cut 5.25 by 4 inches. And we have basic white, which also is cut the same size as the designer series paper, 5.25 by 4 inches. And we're going to put a very lovely shimmering black ribbon. Can you see that shimmer? And that's going to go on the inside of the card. All right, I'm going to turn the camera down now, and we'll get started with our scoring. We have a lot of scoring to do. And the scoring dimensions will also be in the show more box once you open it up, as well as supplies that you will need for the card. And also, when you first started my video, after the introduction, there was a host code, and that host code is on my work area, and it also will be at the end of the video. If you should order any items and from this particular class, I hope that you will give me the credit and use my host code. Okay, let's turn the camera down now and get you focused up here. Let's see how you looking. I think that's good. Okay, and this is my host code right here. So the first thing we're going to do is we need to measure. We're going to measure the front of the card. Let's just fold it and use our bone folder to make a nice sharp crease so that we know the difference between the front and the back. First thing we're going to do is we're going to measure the card. Any ruler, any type of ruler will do, will work well. And we're going to measure from the outside of the bottom to 2 3/4 inches to the middle. And we're going to put a tick mark. I use a big pencil because they erase so nicely. So you don't want the tick mark to be too obvious, just a little mark will do. The next thing we're going to measure is from the tick mark up to the side. And we're going to measure the card 2 1/8 inches up. Now, if you're confused about what 1/8 of an inch is, I'm hoping you could see this. Maybe not. But I will put it down here, perhaps on the black. Not sure. Let's try it on just the white. To get 1/8 of an inch, we'll start with the 1, and we'll count from 1. Each mark. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So 2 1/8 inches, here's your 2. 1/8 inch is just the one line right after the 2. If you wanted 5/8, you just count to 5. So we just need 2 1/8 inches. Whoops, my sleeve got caught on that. And we're just going to make a little tick mark right where that is. And then we're going to the other side, measure the same amount, 2 1/8 inches, and make that little tick mark. Then we need to measure from this tick mark, the first one that we made at the bottom, we need to measure right up to the corner where we have our score line. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to make that crease so that it would be noticeable. We need to adjust the ruler, and we're just going to put a little tick mark there. Actually, if you can do it without the tick mark, that's okay too. And we're going to put our ruler back here, and we're going to do the other side just the way we did the first side. Okay. Now we need to make score lines, so I'm going to bring my paper trimmer in because it not only cuts the paper, it also will score the paper for us. The first score line I'm going to do is from the middle of the bottom up to where we measured 2 1/8 inches on each side. We need to put those marks right in the track where the score blade we'll run and look through, make sure it's lined up, and we'll just make that score. Now we need to take and run a line from the tick mark up to the top of the front of the card where we made a little tick mark before. And with this wonderful paper trimmer, you can actually see through to make sure that you're lined up properly. And we'll take our scoring blade and run it down. The scoring blade is a lighter brown and the cutting blade is a dark brown. And there have been times when I actually got them mixed up a little bit. And that didn't work well because instead of scoring, I cut. But we do these things and who knows why. All right, we're going to do that first score line again. Then we're going to do the longer score line like we did earlier. Line it up so that it's right on the track. And we'll get that score line done perfectly. Okay, we'll put this away for now. Now we need to fold. And we're going to fold the longest score line to the back of the card, or back of the front. And we need our bone folder to crease that. And the smaller one goes out to the front, and that gives us our arrow. And we need to score that well. So you see we have half of the arrow done already. And again, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to fold the long score line into the card and crease with the bone folder. And the smaller score line, we're going to bring that out. And we're going to make a crease. All right, now in order to secure these, we're going to have to glue them, and I prefer to use the liquid glue here. And you need to be careful. First of all, you don't want a whole glunk of glue coming out to begin with. And you know that if you use too much, it's all going to squirt out to the side. So I'm going to watch and see exactly where this is going to be folded. And I'm going to start with a little bit of glue in the corner of my craft mat. There we go. And start here. And let's see. Oops. That's what I'm talking about, using too much glue. I'm not really a liquid glue person, so I don't use it that often, and I know some demonstrators, that's all they do is use the liquid glue, and you do need to hold that. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to see where this falls, and we're going to try, see if we can do it without getting a whole glunk of it outside the card. I see it's outside there already. And that's okay. It's only paper. Alright. So now we have that down. Now we're going to have to glue these down. These are just a little easier because they're pretty much through that whole side. The beauty about liquid glue is you have wiggle room. You could move it if you're not lined up just right. You could move it around, and just like that, it's all dry. Alright. The next thing we're going to do is we need to get our paper trimmer out again, because we need to slice this beautiful paper. before we do that, we do have to measure it. So now we need to measure this paper, and then we're going to cut it. And we're going to measure it just as we did the base. We need to measure it in 2 3/4 inches along the bottom. Alright, and we're just going to take and run this up to the top where the corner is, on the outside of the corner on both sides. Now I can bring in my paper cutter. And we need to line that up with the runner. Make sure it hasn't moved. You want it to be as straight as possible. And we're going to cut. And we're going to take this piece and set it aside just as it is. Then we're going to turn it around to the other side. And we're going to look through our ruler. That's the beauty, one of the beautiful features of this. It's a clear ruler. However, to make it easier to read, although it's easy enough to read, but I made it a little easier for myself. I cut a 1/4 inch strip of white and glued it to the inside of the ruler. So let me make sure we're lined up here. It looks that way, and we're going to slice. And we're going to keep that just like that. It could be a little puzzling if you mix them up, but it's something that can be figured out well enough. All right. Now the nature of the beast with this card is that the measurements, sometimes they could be off. This one actually looks very good. And I'm going to use my tape runner for this. And my craft mat. Keeps my work area from getting gluey and sticky, tacky. Not pleasant to work on a tacky area. Alright, so this should just fit this one compared to some of the others. I think is going to fit just perfectly. Let me put it on its side. I think I'm vertically challenged. And there we have it. Beautiful, just beautiful. All right, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to grab our liquid glue again. And we're going to take these 2 pieces that we cut off, and we're going to lay them right there. You don't have to have any white showing. You may if you want. It does look nice with the white showing. But then these points overlap. So I'm just going to ignore the white. Gotta be careful not to get so close to the edge with liquid glue, because you don't want it to come out. And the wonderful thing about using liquid glue is that you can move it around for a short time. before it actually adheres. And that worked out beautifully. We could maybe raise that up a little bit. See what I mean? You can move it around. And the same with this, and I think I've got to just get some glue off of my fingers because I'm getting it on my card. Alright, we've got that done. And I'm going to grab my glue eraser and try and get some of this glue off. Then the next thing I'm going to do is take my embossing buddy, just put a little bit on there so that it's not tacky. Now we need to take some tape runner and attach this to the inside of the card. Alright, let's see, we gotta move that down just a little bit. Looks good to me. Oh, before this really sticks, I want to put on that beautiful ribbon. So we need to do a little card surgery, as I call it. There it is. So we're going to run some glue down the whole ribbon. And we're just going to take it and put it across the bottom. Although this is such a beautiful design, it really doesn't need anything added to it. But since I had it cut, may as well do it. Now, because we opened this up, I think I will take a little bit of liquid glue and run it along the bottom. I think I need to get a refill. We'll just rub it on our craft mat, because the glue will not stick to the craft mat. Ah, take a look at that card. Beautiful. I think it's beautiful. Well, now we need to put a label on it. And I want to show you this label. It's called Label Me, it's a punch. And it's called Label Me Pretty, our lovely punch. You take your, turn it upside down first of all, so you can see that you're lining it up properly. And you punch, and look at that nice punch, that nice label that comes out of that. We're going to do two, and I'll tell you why in a minute. Because I want to do the same punch in gray so that it picks up the silver. And there we go. Let's lock this. put that away. Now, of course, it's from the same punch. So here's a little tip. You're not going to see the black if you do it this way. However, if you take the two that I punched and put them together like this, and then take this and put it over it, you could see exactly where you may want to put them together so that you will now have two different colors and same punch. Nobody will know the difference. So I'm just going to add some glue right there where my fingers are so that it will hold. The second piece, I know that's where we want it. Now all I need to do is take this and center it there, and look at that beautiful label that we have, all outlined in black. Spread the ribbon out. And this is going to sit like so. Behind the label. And now we'll use our dimensionals. Put some on the ribbon, and I'm going to put some on the back of the label. Now the ribbon will be nice and secure, and so will the label. And there we go. Now, I still have more decorating to do. I have some beautiful rhinestone basic jewels, and I'm going to put them down the front. We're going to put some on the label, and I say that this all the time when we're doing these. You need to put them on in odd numbers, because odd numbers are pleasing to the eye. So we have 3, and we just need 2 more. And there's our card. We're not done yet. I want to put some Wink of Stella on. I think I'll attach it to the label. And now I think I need one more dimensional on the back of this label. So let me just quickly put it on. There, that will hold. We'll get rid of that ink. And I'm going to put it, I think what I'm going to do, by the way, to get this little brush working, you just press it, And you could almost see the wink of Stella coming down. And I'm going to put that on the outside where the black is, just to make it pretty and sparkly. Reminds me of New Year's Eve with all the sparkle and glitter. Here is the finished card. Isn't that paper just beautiful? You open it up, and it's not just your paper that's glittering, it's the pretty ribbon also that's glittering. Isn't that beautiful? I think it is. Well, hello. I hope you enjoyed watching me make this card, and I do hope that you will try it yourself. As I said, under the video there will be something that says show more, and you'll get all the cutting directions and the supplies that I used today. You'll get that down there also. You could always re-watch this video if you need a little help in getting things in your mind set. Sometimes you need to watch it more than once, or you could even watch it as you're doing the card yourself. I'm so glad you joined me today. I do hope that you will subscribe to my channel, and please, a thumbs up. I really do need that. And I am going to just say goodbye. Have a wonderful day, and hopefully I will see you soon. Bye now.